So let's breathe. And let's release what's ours to let go of right now. Now let's breathe in some of that joy. And release any sorrow that we may hold. And breathe in the knowledge that we are whole and healed. And breathe out any contrary messages. As we come together on this Easter morning, we know that we are whole and healed and full of joy and love. And we are reminded of that through the story of the resurrection. And we know that it is in us to choose our own resurrection. How and when we decide to do that. And what better day and what better time than right now. So let's take this knowledge of our own choice for our own regrowth and rebirth into a couple of minutes of silence. As we return to this place and time, we give thanks for who we are, for each one of us, who we are right now, and who we are becoming. We acknowledge our own power of becoming, and we acknowledge the power of becoming of all of those around us. With that, we give thanks for ourselves, for each other, and for this glorious day. And we say, Amen. So has anyone seen Despicable Me 2? Yes. Okay. So how many of you know the song Happy? See hands.
I know it, I just don't know all the words.
Okay, you know of it. Okay, all right, so a few people. Well, we're going to have a chance to sing this song this morning. This song has sort of captured our house. We can't but walk around the house and sing this song. And part of the reason for that, one of the lines in this song is, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Isn't that a neat line? A room without a roof. How many, I think Betty, maybe a couple of others watch CBS Sunday morning. It's on at 7 till 8:30. Pharrell Williams, the author of this song and the singer of the song, was on CBS Sunday morning last Sunday and really drew me into this song in a way I had not before been drawn in. They did a little interview with him, and since then I've seen a short interview by Oprah as well. And he talks specifically about this line, a room without a roof. What do you think that means?
Limitless.
Yes.
Open.
Limitless, no boundaries, absolutely. A room without a roof. Now, she is going to bring up the MTV video, the official video of Happiness, while I talk for another minute or so. It takes us a minute or two to get this thing up. So there'll be some stuff going on the screen, but you don't have to pay attention to the screen right now, okay? So in the interview, the girls tell me I'm like mumble and happy feet, right? I've got my battery pack on my back and he's kind of choking me in front. It's like adjusting. So on the interview last week, when I don't recall who was talking to him, but was talking to Pharrell Williams about the song. The song was in Despicable Me Too, and he said it never got any traction when it was in that movie. No real hearing of it, no big deal afterwards. And then they decided to make a video of the song. And it caught fire around the world. And you can now go and you can watch on the Happiness channel 24/7. You can watch different people performing this song. Okay,
It's going, but you can't see it right now.
Okay, we want to go there. So if you minimize this, will that, we practiced this yesterday too. Here we go. And then you're going to want to crank the volume.
Okay. B. Pause. Okay.
That volume also. All in. Okay.
Even when it doesn't work perfectly, it is so amazing to me. You know, this
Okay,
technology.
can you pause it for me?
I did.
You pause it. Okay, so we're just about ready to go. So this went viral around the world. People started seeing this video and doing their own happiness videos. And Deb's nodding. She's seen one of some of these all around the world. This has caught fire. And I saw a short interview of him with Oprah. And then they showed just a minute or so of one of these random videos that somebody made around the world. And Pharrell Williams had tears in his eyes, and he was unable to speak after he saw this, because he said he had such a deep realization of the chord he had struck with people about happiness in our lives and acknowledging that. And he looks like he's about 18 and he's in his 40s. That's phenomenal too. But he's had other songs he's recorded. He's done a lot of other music, and nothing has hit. And he's done an album before. And he told the interviewer, he said, I think the reason that album didn't make it, he said, it's because my ego was all wrapped up in it. I wanted to be a success. I wanted to be a success. And he said, with this song, it had nothing to do with me. It was simply a message that came through me and to me, and I needed to tell. So, you've got the lyrics. If you feel like singing along, go ahead. If you just want to sing with the chorus, which is real easy to sing with, go ahead. If you just want to listen and watch, that's fine. Okay, so are we ready? Okay.
Cause I'm happy if you feel like a room without a roof. Cause I'm happy alone if you feel like happiness stand up and drink. Because I'm happy if you know what happiness is to you. Cause I'm happy alone if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news talking this and that. If you feel like a room without a roof, 'cause I'm happy I'm alone. If you feel like happiness is the truth, because I'm happy I'm alone. If you know what happiness is to you, because I'm happy I'm alone. If you feel like that's what you want to do, bring me down, can't nothing bring me down. The love is too high.
There, now you can go to YouTube anytime and you can click on that and you can go to the 24 hours of the day. You can listen to it all day if you want to. And feel free to take some of these lyrics home because until I looked at the lyrics in writing, I did not get all of this. But you know, part of this is bring on the worst you can bring on, right? It doesn't matter because I've got this happiness and I've got this joy. So these lyrics are very simple and very profound at the same time. I'm going to have Shing turn my battery pack back on. Can you turn me back on, please? Am I on?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
It's a good ringtone too.
Oh, and it's a good ringtone too, I bet.
Yep.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, so we have this happiness story. In Unity, sometimes we make a distinction between the words happy and joy. And we sometimes say happy is that thing you feel because something has happened that gives you momentary happiness. And joy is that bubbling thing that is with you all of the time, that you can claim anytime. And when I hear this song, happiness, the way he sings about happiness is to me the joy piece, right? Because he says, bring on whatever is supposed to be not so good, and I'm still okay. I'm still okay with that. So this is part of our message for today, right? The whole happiness thing, that we get to make choices. And the story of the resurrection is about making a choice to be reborn, reincarnated in our own ways. In Mark we read, do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth. He has been raised. He is not here. And as we read in the Daily Word this morning, I rejoice in knowing that I can die. I've got it, okay? Okay?
It's the way you put the slides together. It's helping you by auto.
It thinks it's helping me. Thank you, Sam. Thank you,
So
Sam.
you just, when it goes forward after 5 seconds and you go back, it'll stay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We'll be happy.
So we need more, we need more tutoring from Sam on this. So in the Daily Word we read, I rejoice in knowing that I can die to my former self and be born anew. And we have this opportunity to make this choice every minute of every day to decide, how do I want to be born anew? What can be different for me in my life? What patterns have I been bringing forward that I'm done with, that I get to finish? Life shrinks or expands based on one's awareness. And isn't that the truth? Shrinks or expands based on our awareness. Easter says, I want to read this to you, and I've got a little bit more in this Unity booklet. Easter says that nothing can defeat the divine pattern that is within us. The very essence of the Easter message is to call for the new. Each of us has probably entombed hopes, dreams, longings, and opportunities, and divine possibilities that have been crucified and buried. Things that very much need resurrecting. Easter is a spiritual opportunity to resurrect all of these things. Contained within the resurrection message is the promise that you can stir into your life something that is broader and fuller than you have ever known before. I love the way that's put. You can stir into your life something that is broader and fuller than you have ever known before. When I was watching CBS Sunday Morning this morning, there was a piece about Elizabeth Warren, who is a senator in Maine or Massachusetts, I think it was Maine. And they were interviewing her about some of the things that she is supporting and the possibility of running for president. And as I watched this, they mentioned that she's 64 years old. And I went, wow. I thought, she's got all these plans for what's coming next in her life. And she's 64 years old. Don't we live in an interesting age?
Yes.
At 64, my parents were retired and just kind of traveling around. Mm-hmm. And they enjoyed their 15, 20 years of doing that. Yet we live in a real different age, don't we? And I am real aware of that because I had a birthday yesterday myself.
Happy
Inquiry. And I didn't know the age. I could collect Social Security. So I'm watching this morning with Elizabeth Warren, who's 64, going, yeah, I get it. It doesn't matter what our age is. We can set all of that old stuff aside because we can rebirth and reborn and move into a newly developed, newly designed life anytime we want to. So that was a marvelous reminder for me this morning. Here's another little reminder this week. I lived in this metaphor. This is our kitchen cupboard. And we've redone the whole inside of the house over about the last year and a half. And one of the last things we did was to put up this backsplash. And in so doing, we also put up some little lights underneath the cupboard there, right? So we've got some place light. And these lights have seemed to be coming on willy-nilly, right? We turn them.
Like that? Like that?
Did that just come on right
It's
now? Okay, well,
Right order.
I forgot to turn it back on, but somebody did it for me. Okay? So we have those little lights under the counter, and we'll turn them on. There's a little switch off on the left, on the cord, there's a switch. And we'll turn the switch on, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Later that day, we'll turn it on, it works. Next day, it works. Next day, it doesn't work. What is what we've taken it apart, right? She took it apart again, she took the switch off. Because it's one of those you put on the cord, and then you roll it, and then it does, you've done something to the cord to make it connect or not connect. Works, doesn't work, works, doesn't work. Well, the other morning, she was getting ready for school, making some lunch, and I was up with her, and I went to turn that light on. It didn't go on. I said, oh, this silly thing. So I went over to the wall switch for the ceiling light, and now this is a little hard to see, but the light is on now. You see how it's I just did these pictures to help me remember to tell the story. So I turned on the ceiling light, and here came this little light on.
I noticed it. I was like, whoa.
She notices it and goes, oh. It's plugged in up in the corner here. It goes up in behind the cupboards, and there's an outlet up there. And apparently it's one of those outlets where if you plug it into the bottom, it works with the wall switch. And if you plug it in the top, it works on the switch. So here was my big metaphor going, this pattern has been going on for weeks, for a couple of months. The same pattern had been occurring. But did any of us notice the pattern? No, none of us noticed the pattern. And so then I said to myself, Lynnette, what patterns do you have in your life, right? That are clearly patterns, but I'm not seeing them. I'm just not seeing them. And sometimes we need something big and bold to really flash us in the face, like this did, because the timing was right there. I turned it on, and it wasn't on, and then the wall switch, zoom. So the timing was perfect to be able to see the pattern. But the pattern was always there, just didn't see it. So sometimes we need people in our lives, right, to help us remind us of the patterns, or we need something bold that goes, all of a sudden we stop and go, whoa. That's a pattern. I do this every time that happens. And this is one of our big opportunities for rebirth, right? Is to look at those patterns in our lives, the ones that we've carried over that get in the way of our happiness, that get in the way of our joy. So we can ask ourselves that, what's a pattern I have that's getting in the way of me feeling all of the happiness that I can feel? And in Mark we read, but when they heard that he was alive, they would not believe it. After this, he, Jesus, resurrected Jesus, appeared in another form to 2 of the disciples. And they went back and told the rest, but they did not believe the disciples. Okay, so you may make a choice in your life to say, I'm done with this pattern. Okay, I'm done with this pattern. Do other people know you're done with that pattern? Maybe, maybe not, right? They may be still seeing you through that pattern. And even when you start to behave differently, they may have a reaction something like this. You want to run that down again? Right? They may have a reaction like, is this for real? Or is this some kind of trick you're playing with me that you're behaving differently now than you usually do? Okay, so even though we might make choices to address our lives differently and get rid of some of those patterns, you might have people around you that don't quite get what you're doing and might start even kind of holding you back to that old pattern, right? Because that's what's comfortable for them, even though it might be a pattern that gets in the way of your life. That pattern is comfortable for the people around you. They're used to that. So we want to remember the disciples who went back to the other disciples and said, we've seen Jesus. He's resurrected. We've seen him. But the other disciples did not believe them. They needed to see for themselves. So anything we change in our lives, any of those patterns we decide to shift, we may very well have to hang in there for a while with that shifted pattern for other people in our lives to believe it and to understand it and to really accept it for themselves and support our rebirth and regrowth. Make some sense? Okay? Because no matter what we do, it's familiar to people around us. Even if it's not constructive, it's familiar. So when we make those choices to change, we want to enlist people around us and say, listen, yeah, this is something I'm doing differently. I've made a choice here to respond differently to this. And I want you to know that so you can help me and support me to move in that direction, rather than leave them in disbelief. 2 or 3 weeks ago, we all did a prayer exercise here. I invited us to write down our ask prayer, and use the ask as clarification toward the affirmation. And nearly everyone that Sunday put a prayer in the box, and these are those prayers, right here. Our prayer group holds these in prayer for a month, and then we send them on to Community Village where they're held in prayer for another month. And I have these here this morning because I don't want you to forget what this represents. Everyone who put a prayer in the box that day was acknowledging in some way a rebirth, a shifting pattern. Every one of these prayers is someone saying, this is what I want to be different in my life. This is what I desire to be new. Okay? And we have this opportunity every day to make that choice. And this is one of the tools you have, is to put it down in a prayer. Put it in the prayer box. And let us not so much pray for you, right, as to pray with you. Okay? So we have this opportunity. Another thing I want to put in right here, as we think about being born anew, getting rid of the patterns that get in the way of our happiness, is our new Unity of Payson vision. And I want to acknowledge Betty and Donna and Faith, who's not here this morning, and I, the four of us, worked together on a whole bunch of vision ideas that 14 people put together after service one day about 6 weeks ago. And this is our Unity of Payson vision. Please say this with me. We are a welcoming and open-hearted community living in spiritual transformation through unity principles.
Wow.
Living in spiritual transformation. That says exactly what I'm talking about. That says we are ready to drop whatever patterns we have had at Unity of Payson that might be getting in the way of our full experience and our full happiness. So this happiness, this joy, this getting rid of old patterns, this rebirthing happens at lots of levels, right? It happens at your own level in your individual life. It happens in relationships that we have, because anything we change shifts the relationship. Anything does. It happens at this level of this church. It happens as we shift and grow at Unity of Payson. We also have impacts on this entire community of Payson. We answered 3 other questions that day we stayed to talk about vision. And I'm just going to talk about one right now, and we'll have the information in the back on another Sunday so we can all be really working with this vision. One of the questions we asked was, to live with this vision, what do we need to embrace? And I love this picture because sometimes embracing change, embracing shift, can feel kind of scary, right? We know it, we love it, we trust it, and we're also kind of going not so sure at the same time. And to me, this picture says a lot of that. But what we came up with, the group put together all of the comments we had that day, completing the sentence, to live with this vision we need to embrace. Strength, love, and joy, life and growth, community and individuality, a visible center of spiritual teaching, learning, and support that is active in a community. That this is what we need to embrace. Would you say these, just the whole slide with me? To live this vision we embrace strength, love, life and growth, community and individuality, a visible center of spiritual teaching, learning, and support that is active in the community. There, wow. So when we think about today as Easter and an opportunity for rebirth and growth and reincarnation, we can think of this in terms of our own selves, our own lives, the relationships we're in, this church right here, and the relationship this church has in this community. And then we have this marvelous thing that I found, all put together, a slide, just like this on the internet. This life is yours. Take the power to choose what you want to do and do it well. Take the power to love what you want in life and love it honestly. Take the power to walk in the forest and be a part of nature. Take the power to control your own life. No one else can do it for you. Take the power to make your life happy. Right? Right. We all have that opportunity, even if yesterday wasn't happy, even if an hour ago wasn't happy. Each and every moment, we have the power to choose joy, happiness, and to do what we need to do in our lives to bring it in and bring it back. So, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth, right? And clap along if you want a room without a roof. So, thank you very much.